Toolbox that people are interested. Got quite a few views. Thought if enough people are interested, I'd make a shop tour video. And this is what's outside my shop. It's in the mountains. Plenty of trees. About one every 5 feet. Yeah, there's no lack of trees up here. This is my shop right here. It's got a balcony. It's I don't know. It's got a couple lofts in it. So some people would say it's 3-story. Maybe it's not. Here's my shed I keep fuel and oil in. So I built freeways for almost 30 years. Thought I was gonna retire from that and build hot rods, custom cars, I don't know, stuff like that. Then I got sick and they made me retire early, so I ended up with a lot of tools and I wasn't gonna sell them. I bought most of them because when I began in the freeway business, I was a heavy-duty repairman. So I worked it both in and out of the shop. There's my pickup. There's my toolbox. Little Nomad portable welding table. Some screens. And then here's my shop welding table. Keep my clamps down there, fire extinguisher. Got a pretty good size Wilton vise on here. Keep my chain fall come-alongs down there. Material stand, chains. And here's another table, kind of an assembly table. Metal tops on all my benches and tables. Here's part of a car and truck jacking system. There's the pump, the hose. It's one of those, I think it's called the Easy Jack. Portable solvent tank. Some wheels and casters. Little racks, little carts. Here's my woodworking area. I don't use it much, not much into cutting up wood, only when I have to. I have a vise on this table. Keep it covered up. I don't use it much. It's kind of a hobby shop. I only work out here when I feel like it. Here's a vacuum cleaner. Had that for years. Snap-on vacuum cleaner. This cabinet right here is full of air conditioning stuff, vacuum pump, gauges, all that stuff. And then this is a Blackhawk Porta-Power. And then here's a bar cutter. That thing is indestructible. I've cut more stuff with that I thought I'd never cut, and it's cut it. It's unbelievable. Here's a roll press brake shear from Harbor Freight. And they're cheap, couple $100 on sale, I guess. And they work. They'll work good if you get them tuned up. Don't take much to knock them out of tune. Here's my Machinist Toolbox. This side here I keep, oh shoot, here's drill bits, countersink, stuff like that. A lot of drawers, tape measures, metric. From the California highway building days, everything was in metric. California was going to change the world. It never worked out. They went back to standard SAE stuff. More measuring devices, hand level, and long tape measures, wood measures. Here's more hole saw bits. This was a pretty good deal. It's held up well. This is like when you break them, you got them. And here's a bandsaw blade, some levels, angle finder. This is just all boxes shit came in. Oh, that's pretty cool. This is a flare gun. There's flares down below it. I don't know how old it is, but it's old. Then here's another workbench. Keep my battery charging station for the battery tools on here. Stereo and computer for the shop. Then here's a small parts supplies, machine screws, tap screws, self-tapping screws, electrical connectors, O-rings, oh, you name it, it's probably in there. Stainless steel selection. Don't have a lot of stainless. Got enough so I don't got to run downtown if I need one. So, keep plenty of electrical connector stuff on hand so I don't got to run downtown for... I mean, downtown around here is 20-25 miles away, depending on where you're going. Plenty of fuses and Cat 5 connectors and shrink tubing. Then over here I got all the stuff that would end up in a can. And I got tired of dumping out cans. And I went down to Harbor Freight. And shoot, this thing was only a little bit over $100 and no more dumping out cans. Only thing about it is you got to be careful not to knock them little containers off the bar that holds them on. Got some bulk fuel line up here, fuel vacuum line type stuff, wire wrap. Here's a set of Blue Point torches. I've had those for forever, probably 30 years. I don't even know if Snap-on makes them anymore. But nice little torch. Don't use it much since they come out with plasma cutters that are so inexpensive and easy to get a hold of. But it's torch and welding tips and a couple jacks. That jack blew up, so I bought a Harbor Freight 20-ton air jack and stuck on it. Here's where all the messy sanding and grinding area is, back in the corner of the shop, so it kind of all migrates this way, easy to clean up. That's a 4x24 oscillating belt sander, post sander. And that's a 1x42 with a 7-inch disc grinder on it. That is a handy tool to have. Here's a Blue Point drill, the old one, the 3/8 drill that Snap-on came out with when everybody else was making decent battery tools like Porta-Cable and DeWalt and stuff. This was the most expensive piece of shit I ever bought. About all it's good for is sharpening tungsten. It won't hold a drill to save its butt. And then here's a buffer, do a little hand buffing here if you need to. Drill press. I think it's a jet drill press. Yeah, it's a jet drill press. I've had it for a few years. Hasn't never failed me. And then here's the drill bits. Got a couple Wilton vices for it, two or three Wilton vices. There's one here. It's got a light. Not much of a light, but it's a light. I go up to about 1 inch in the drill sizes. These are some fancy drills that I bought. I think this set of drills was close to $400. Supposedly they're cryon, they're frozen to get their hardness and maintain their sharpness. What I found out, as long as you use them in a drill press, they're fine. But if you try to put them in a hand drill, you end up with something like this. So, I don't know. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it's broken off. So I keep them here and only use them in the drill press so I don't break them. Oh, and down here is these are your metric drill bits. Some measuring tools in here. Kind of old school stuff you don't really use anymore. Gotta have a place to keep it. Here's some other calipers and stuff to figure out what you're doing. Some X-Acto knives. Empty drawer. Stock of razor blades. Just your basic raiding utensils. A couple fancy scrapers. Some string levels. That's about it in that one. Oh, and here's another little buffer. I like to keep a couple of floppy disks on to sharpen stuff or get a fine edge on something. Here's a 8-inch post grinder, buffing wheel on it. Harbor Freight horizontal bandsaw that I turned into a vertical saw. It never was the greatest horizontal saw. Required a lot of attention. And then here's a Grizzly. This is a really good horizontal saw. This thing just it flat cuts through about anything you want to stick in it. I put it on a stand so it's equal height to my welding table. So if I'm cutting long stuff, I could just roll my welding table up to it and not worry about having to support the other end of the long stuff. Here's a little lathe, little mini lathe, good for screws and bolts, stuff like that. Pens, internal thread cutting. Oh, your Dremel stuff back here. Got to have some Dremel stuff around. Oh, a shelf of cases of, I don't know, what I've picked up over the years. All the hats I've ended up with, I nailed them up around the shop. Then here's a cabinet with the electrical tools in it. Porta-cable 4x24 belt sander. That thing's a beast. Old Craftsman vibratory DeWalt oscillating sander. Porta-cable plywood saw. That thing comes in handy. It beats trying to mess around with the big old saw trying to cut a sheet of plywood. Porta-cable drill. This thing bought in 2000. Still on the original batteries. Has never failed me. Never have went over and picked up a battery. It's been sitting for 6 months and still got a charge in it. At least enough to get a few screws in. Drills. Electric impact wrenches. Cheap little Roby one for drilling concrete, putting screws in concrete. Here's a 90-degree Blue Point 110 volt 90-degree drill. Works pretty good. It's one of those things, if you don't need it, you don't need it, but when you need it, you need it. Router, nail guns, rivet poppers, skill saw, little cutoff saw, little multi-purpose saw down there, big grinder, big nail gun. Here's a screw gun in there, sheetrock screw gun. Jumper cables, which you don't use much anymore since they came out with jump boxes. Here's another workbench. I've had this thing forever. Got a 5-inch snap-on vise on it. Table's I think I bought it from Snap-on. It's supposed to be a Snap-on table, but I think somewhere in it, it had Lyle or something stamped in it. Of course, what shop wouldn't be complete without a 50-inch plasma in it? Keep all my painting and cleaning and oils up there, cutting oils and all that stuff. And then here's my big lathe. 24 by 36, or or no, 12 by 36 quick change tool post. Oh, it's got plenty of quick change tool holders on it. It's got some there. Keep all the quick measuring stuff down here, and files and chuck keys. And, got a couple little magnetic lights I can put wherever I want for whatever I'm doing. A couple of magnetic base dial indicators. Some more dial indicators back there. Magnetic base, and then a clamp base in case you're working on something that ain't metal. Got air right here. Air comes down right to the machine from up there. These are actually these magnets they sell to stick a gun under your dash, I guess. They work good for holding your tools without having to worry about them getting in the spindle. And here's a snap-on roll cart. I don't know, they must have come out with these, I don't know, 15 years ago. Had to have one. They only had them in red at the time. Like everything else for Snap-on, kind of overpriced, but pretty cool. Keep all my cutting tools in here for the lathe, and measuring tools, and calipers, and dial indicators, and all lathe tool stuff. And this drawer here's got my precision tools in it for the lathe. You never know when you got to get it right on, and you need those. And here's all my sanding stuff. Some pads, sanding pads, screw pads, flopper disc for the screw thing, some stuff to get inside smaller areas, the cloth discs. Oh, here's a set. Got to have these. Promotion shoes, promotion boots. If you're going to go get a promotion, you might as well wear the best boots you could buy. If you want a promotion or a raise, these will come in handy for you. Here's a set of taps and dies, Snap-on. Pretty common set. A lot of people I see has got these. I've had them a long time. They seem to hold up. I don't do a lot of tapping and dying, but they'll get you by. And then over here is my welding station. Here I got Mig Welder, Miller 211 Mig Welder. It's got a aluminum spool gun. Comes on it. TIG rod. Down here I got the the Max Star 150 STH Miller. It's been a good welder. I've had that thing since they first came out. It's like 15 years old or so, and it's never let me down. And then there's a plasma cutter there. The Spectrum 375 Extreme. Bought that when they came out with them. That's a handy tool to have if you're cutting any type of metal. I mean, it's designed to do like up to, I don't know, 3/16 1/4 inch, but if you get handy, you could plow through a piece of 1/2 inch or even 1 inch if you had to. Takes some work, but it'd get through it. You could scarf out welds with it. You could do all kinds of stuff. And then here's my grinding and welding table. TIG torch right here. MIG gun. Keep them in brackets. Try to keep the cord on the MIG as straight as I can. If I keep it all curled up, I don't use it a lot. Come out here and it gets cold. It don't want to uncurl. And keep all my grinding stuff up here. It's kind of a mess right now, but it's always a mess. Clean it up. 5 minutes later, it's a mess. Here's a Blue Point 4-inch, 4.5 inch grinder. Came with that drill. It ain't much better than that drill. But actually not a bad grinder. Just don't have no battery life to it. 4-inch Makita grinder right there. Kind of a thing that's going away. I kind of like it. It's nice and small, and you can hang on to it for a while. It's light. Doesn't beat you up. There's a 1-inch hand belt sander. Speed glass helmet, welding helmet. Nice helmet. Reliable. It's the one that the top flips up so you can grind with it without having to turn on and off. It's a pretty good helmet. Then here's how I keep my grinders, my air grinders. Keep them on a little 1/2-inch plate with a bunch of studs welded on it. And when you're done, you just stick it on the stud. Don't have to worry about them getting full of grindings. And you can keep a bunch of them right there. So I could take, if I'm grinding here, I could leave it here. If I'm grinding on the table over there, or if that table's on wheels, I could roll it out here, and I could put that right in the middle of that table. Then I have a selection of all the different tools I might need on a grinder. And then I could keep all my high-speed steel burr tools here, or carbon burr tools here, and stones and that stuff right there, nice and handy. Oh, some clamps, some measuring tools. 4.5-inch Makita grinder. It's on a stand, magnetic base. You can stick this thing wherever you want. And when you're waiting for it to slow down, you don't got to worry about tearing up your bench or your work. You just slide it in there, and there it is when you need it again. Just grab right a hold of it. These are some clamps I made to go on the rail. Clamping sheet metal and stuff. You just put that down and boom. Clamp down some flat surface. It's got a rubber pad in it right now. So if you're going to like weld close to it, you got to take that rubber pad out and put just metal. Otherwise you burn up that rubber pad. A little adjustment tool. Vise on this table too, like my vices. Aluminum bottle of argon for if I ever got to weld something that's not easy to get to. I don't have to take a big bottle with me. Another fire extinguisher. Another 4.5-inch Makita. This one here is it's got the long rocker switch on it, and this one here is the on all the time or off. Oh, everybody's got to have one of those in their shop. Then here's where I keep my material. Angle iron, bar stock, tubing, some sheet metal, some aluminum, a little stainless in there. Some round bar if I ever got to cut a pen or make a bolt, or I don't know, whatever I got to do with it. It's there. Snap-on electrical reel. Modified it so it doesn't take just one plug. Put one of these things on here so it'd take 6 plugs. Shop gnome, guards everything. Big thoughts. And here's my SAE fine thread selection and SAE coarse thread. Building something, you need a bolt. It's nothing worse than having to run downtown to pick up a couple 3/8 by 1-inch bolts, especially here downtown. It's 20-25 miles away, so you spend at least an hour going to get a couple bolts. So that's why I keep them around here. Not only is plan right for my projects, then air hose rail, air filter, on and off valve right here for the air, right there. Turn it off. Air compressor will hold air forever. It won't come on as long as that valve is off. Turn it on, it'll be on. It'll leak out in a few hours through the system because the system runs all over the shop. Goes there and down there. There's air outlets in the ceiling. And there's my air compressor. It's a upright snap-on. I don't know. I've had it 15 years or so. It seems to do all right for what I'm doing. I don't hardly ever run out of air. And if I do, there's another 110 compressor right back there I can plug right in. It's a snap-on too. more of a portable unit. And then over here on the other half of the shop, I keep my pickups, my flatbed, tractors, my forklift, my riding lawnmower. Oh, there's a cherry picker back there. I got 2 more doors here. 2 more big doors. Then there's my 1-ton dually flatbed. Comes in handy for picking up stuff or taking stuff away. Then over there is ladders and kind of household repair stuff, water lines, you know, outside. I don't know, trimming the tree type shit. And then over here, got my Harbor Freight jack stand selection. If you ever drop something, you'll realize that's money spent. I mean, brake parts and suspension parts, and everything that gets smashed. If you live through it, you'll wish you'd put one of those under there. Set of chocks so it don't go rolling around. Let's see. Oh, here's my Polaris. Built this bed. This thing comes with a little plastic bed on it. You throw 1 shovel in it, it's overloaded. So I put a real bed on it. Built that bed out of metal. Well, I guess that's about it. So thanks for watching.